Good morning. Once again, Kenny Jacobs from Bloomington, Illinois. I want to do a quick video this morning about another government program / agency that you need to be aware of. And this is called Homeland Security Fusion Centers. Something I actually was just made aware of last week, and I've been researching it over the past week and wanted to know more about it before I did the video. But this is definitely something you need to be aware of because it's going to directly affect you and your rights. I'm going to read directly from the Wikipedia entry on fusion centers real quick. It says, a fusion center is an information sharing center, many of which were jointly created between 2003 and 2007 under the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Department of Justice. They are designed to promote information sharing at the federal level between agencies such as the CIA, the FBI, the U.S. Department of Justice, U.S. military, and state and local level government. As of July 2009, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security recognized at least 72 fusion centers. And it says fusion centers may also be affiliated with an emergency operations center that responds in the event of a disaster. And of course, the emergency operations centers that respond in disasters are known as FEMA. So these fusion centers will work right along with FEMA. And as you know, there are over 800 FEMA camps around the United States of America right now. It says the fusion process is an overarching method of managing the flow of information and intelligence across levels and sectors of government to integrate information for analysis. A 2-year Senate investigation found that the fusion centers often produced irrelevant, useless, or inappropriate intelligence reporting to Department of Homeland Security, and many produced no intelligence reporting whatsoever. The report also said that in some cases, the fusion centers violated civil liberties or privacy. Well, again, this is just another example of how our government is working to eliminate as many private rights as you have, working to be involved in every aspect of your life, and tracking every move you make, and every word you say, and everything you do on the computer. And what they do is they use terrorist attacks, like 9/11. In fact, it even says that the government decided they needed things like fusion centers after 9/11. Every time there's every time there is a terrorist attack, and since 9/11, now it seems like the government always loves to come out and tell you how they thwarted some attack through their intelligence. They were able to stop some attack from happening. What's interesting is we never really then hear anything more about the people that were supposedly involved in that attack. No, you don't really hear anything about their trials. You don't really hear anything at all. I'm not sure I believe that all these so-called attacks were actually attacks. I think they're just reported on by our government to make us think they're doing such a great job. Yet, when our government took over healthcare with Obamacare, they had 3 years to make a website, and they couldn't even do that right. Now I'm supposed to believe that they've got our intelligence and our anti-terrorism units working like a well-oiled machine, and nothing's ever happening because they're stopping all of it? No, not at all. But what they do is they're going to continue to prey on people's fears and cause false flag events so people will think that the surveillance gathering is protecting us. People will be willing to give up more and more rights in exchange for perceived safety. And like I said, the government says that this was brought on by 9/11 and they need to gather information more. But then on the Wikipedia entry, where it goes down to some criticisms, David Ritkers of the Cato Institute has said, a long line of fusion centers and DHS reports labeling broad swaths of the public as a threat to national security. Certain groups such as anti-abortion activists, Tea Party groups, they targeted a Second Amendment rally, anti-death penalty and anti-war activists, were put into a federal terrorism database. And it says the Fusion Center in Missouri thought that all third-party voters and Ron Paul supporters were a threat. And the Department of Homeland Security described half of the American political spectrum as right-wing extremists. This will continue to grow, and it will succeed. The New World Order will succeed. The Bible says clearly that in the last days there will be a New World Order, a one-world government. It will succeed because it's way too big to fail, it's too far advanced, and because it's part of the plan of the New World Order in the last days, and will be the system that will be led by the Antichrist. Currently, what seems to help it is it's aided by scoffers who will watch videos like the one I'm doing, and they won't believe it. And they'll say, you're crazy, you're an idiot, and there's no way that would ever happen. It's also aided by the low information society and electorate. Most people don't care enough to really look into this stuff. And then they go ahead and vote for people that are promoting this type of thing. And they just trust that what they say is for your own good. I've learned not to trust the government for much of anything. And as we see these things happening more and more in the last days, you need to keep aware of what's going on, because the government's trying to take all of your rights away. In Illinois, I live in Illinois, the Illinois Center is called the Illinois Statewide Terrorism and Intelligence Center. And the war on terror, and this is actually admitted by David Rockefeller and some other members of some of these elite Luciferian shadow government agencies, such as the Bilderbergs, Council on Foreign Relations, the Club of Rome, etc. They've admitted that the war on terror is an invention of governments to help usher in the New World Order. It's an ongoing, unending war that cannot be won. And it'll allow them to continually take the rights away from the citizens. If you think I'm crazy, I would really suggest you look this stuff up for yourself and learn not to take everything the government says as the truth. As an example, I think we all remember this. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. If you like your plan, you can keep your plan, knowing full well that you couldn't. The government will tell you what they think you need to hear and what you want to hear, and they will continue to do what they want to do, or probably more importantly, they will continue to do what the people above them in the New World Order secret societies tell them to do. All the signs are here. Jesus is coming back soon. Keep looking up and be ready.